You walk into a store and see a jacket marked down from $300 to $120. You buy it instantly. You feel smart, but you never actually ask yourself if the jacket was worth $120 in the first place. You only asked if it was worth less than $300. That number did something to you. It got into your mind first, and everything after it bent around it. This happens to you more than you realize. A salary offer, a restaurant menu, a first impression of a stranger. The first piece of information you receive quietly becomes the measuring stick for everything that follows, even when it has nothing to do with the truth. Why does your brain work this way? Why can't you just judge things fresh on their own terms? Picture a car dealership. The salesman points to a sticker price of $40,000. You gasp. Then he says he can do $32,000. Suddenly, $32,000 feels like a gift. You drive home relieved. But you never asked what the car was actually worth. You only asked how far it had moved from that first number. The $40,000 was never really about the car. It was bait for your mind. This is called anchoring bias. It's your brain's habit of leaning too heavily on the first piece of information it receives, then adjusting from there instead of starting over. Psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky discovered this in the 1970s. In one now famous experiment, they spun a rigged wheel that landed on either 10 or 65. Then asked people to guess what percentage of United Nations countries were African. People who saw the low number guessed low. People who saw the high number guessed high. The wheel was random. It had nothing to do with Africa, but it still anchored their answer. Why would your brain do something so illogical? Because judging a number from scratch takes real mental effort. Adjusting from a number you already have takes far less. Your brain is not lazy, it's efficient. It reaches for the nearest reference point because searching for the truth from zero is expensive, and your mind is always trying to save energy. The problem is, it usually doesn't adjust far enough away from that first anchor. It stays close, too close. Here's where it gets stranger. Anchoring doesn't need to make sense to work. In another study, people were asked to write down the last 2 digits of their social security number, then bid on items like wine and chocolate. People with higher numbers bid significantly more for the exact same items for no logical reason at all. Researcher Dan Ariely called this coherent arbitrariness. Your first number doesn't have to be relevant, it just has to be first. Think about your last salary negotiation. Whoever says a number first usually wins because that number becomes the anchor the entire conversation drifts around. Think about a real estate listing. A home priced slightly high doesn't just test the market, it resets your sense of what expensive even means for every other house you see that week. Even doctors aren't immune. Studies have shown that when physicians are given a suggested diagnosis before examining a patient, they anchor to it, sometimes missing symptoms that point somewhere else entirely. So what can you actually do about this? Before you accept any number, pause and ask yourself where it came from and whether it has anything to do with the actual value in front of you. Try generating your own estimate before you see anyone else's. Once you know your own anchor, you can spot when someone else is trying to move it. That jacket, marked down from $300 to $120, it was never about the jacket. It was about the number that got there first. The next time a number grabs your attention before your judgment does, stop and ask yourself one simple question. Is this the truth, or is this just the first thing I heard? If this helped you see your own mind a little more clearly, consider subscribing and tell me